Hello, I am Hector Garcia, Executive Director of the Minnesota Chicano Latino Affairs Council. CLAC is a state agency created in 1978 to be a bridge of communication between the governor and legislators of Minnesota and the Latino community. CLAC's role is very important. We are charged with advising Minnesota's governor and legislators on Latino issues. We hear the needs, the interests, and the accomplishments of Latinos statewide at the forums we host in communities throughout Minnesota. The information we gather is then funneled into reports and studies that are used by public and private organizations. Our most unique and powerful capability is to recommend new legislation to the governor and to our state senators and representatives. CLAC's board is made up of 11 Latino voting members representing the 8 congressional districts. 3 of them are at large. There are also 4 non-voting members, 2 senators, and 2 representatives. The Latino board members are diverse in terms of their countries of origin or countries of origin of their parents, age, and sex. In addition to quarterly board meetings, CLAC hosts numerous committee meetings. All of these are open to the public, and we encourage you, the Latino and all communities, to participate.
I became a board member for the Chicano Latino Affairs Council a year ago. I have been attending the meetings, and it has been a great experience for me personally. I hope that my work there would bring light to the Hispanic community and the district that I represent. I am hoping that Latino and Hispanics, Mexicans, Central Americans, South Americans know that we're here to help them in any way that they can. So we can bring those concerns, the successes, is not only asking, but also to communicate the successes of the Hispanic and Latino community to the state legislature and the governor of Minnesota.
CLAC staff is in charge of daily administration and consists of an executive director, a community relations manager, and an administrative assistant. We follow a biennium or 2-year plan, which keeps us on track in collecting information from the community, doing research, drafting reports, preparing testimony, and making legislative recommendations. We are then ready during the legislative session to meet with the governor's office, senators, and representatives, and to present fact sheets, position statements, and other reports. Every November, in even-numbered years, CLAC presents our state government and the people of Minnesota a biennium report. This report contains all of the documentation we have prepared, the records of our activities, and our projected focus and main activities for the next biennium, as well as a financial summary. This report is a way for the legislature to measure the return on investment of appropriations assigned to our agency. On November 4th, 2008, a vote by the people of Minnesota created the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. This funding enabled CLAC and the Minnesota Humanities Center to create programming on a vision of how Latino arts, history, and culture has and will continue to impact Minnesota's cultural heritage, arts, and economy. Programs and documentaries created with these funds will be aired on public television. They will be made available on CLAC's and Humanities Center websites and they will be distributed throughout the state to educators, students, libraries, and Minnesotans at large. One of the programs is called Absent Narratives, meaning the narrative that is absent from Minnesota's history. It is a series of videos in which individuals tell their experiences in the first Latino settlement in the flats of St. Paul, their displacement to St. Paul's west side, and the eventual creation of the current District del Sol. These videos also portray the transformation of Minneapolis Lake Street between 35W and the Mississippi River, changing from a troubled area into a thriving commercial zone. This story is described through the voices of the Latinos who effected the transformation. The next program in the series is a documentary filmed by Twin Cities Public Television. It is called Latino Arts, a Community Vision. In it, Latino writers, painters, dancers, and poets convey the future impact of Latino culture on Minnesota. This future vision was distilled from a survey carried out by CLAC in various Latino communities in Minnesota. The final program in the series is also a documentary titled Latinos, Business, and the Arts. It was filmed by the St. Paul Neighborhood Network. It is made up of 4 interviews of top Latino executives in the Walker Arts Center, Best Buy, Cargill, and 3M. The documentary is introduced by an interview with a young Latino poet and business person who builds a bridge between this and the previous TPT documentary.
The videos and documentaries that the Minnesota Humanities Center created along with the Chicano Latino Affairs Council, it's an awesome tool to communicate to our community, not just the Hispanics, but the non-Hispanic community, of the work and the challenges that we face in our communities, or the great successes that Hispanics in the state of Minnesota have accomplished. People need to know, citizens and residents of Minnesota need to know that many of us are trying to work really hard and are having success at it. And we need to let them know. And also, I believe that we need to communicate also to our children the great successes there are in our community, so they have a vision for themselves too. They can see themselves accomplishing the same things, that even though they may be in a bad situation, that they can dream about doing something for themselves.
The intent of these programs is to convey to educators, to students, Latinos, to government, and to all Minnesota the depth and breadth of the Latino community. The struggling farmers from Mexico who follow the harvest from Texas to Minnesota and chose to make the latter their home. The next generations of Mexicans and other Latin Americans who have risen to positions of influence and distinction, and their young descendants who are making an increasingly valuable contribution to Minnesota's arts, culture, and economy. CLAC and the Humanities Center believe these programs are the foundation of a worthy effort to bring greater understanding of the Latino communities and their culture, their trials and successes, to all Minnesota. In the process, the sense of Minnesota identity among Latinos will be strengthened, and mutual respect will grow.